She stood on the steps of the U.S. Capitol asking for transparency. Now, she's calling for impeachment. What happens when an Epstein survivor turns against the very administration she once supported? The answer is unfolding in real time, and it's getting uncomfortable. Haley Robson isn't a random critic jumping on a trend. She's a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein, a Republican, and until recently, a supporter of Donald Trump. That's what makes her sudden reversal so explosive. Because this wasn't quite disappointing. This was a public, emotional line in the sand. Robson says she's done. Completely. She's redacting any support she ever gave to Trump and his inner circle. And according to her, the way the Epstein files were handled was the final straw. But to understand why she feels so betrayed, you have to go back to how all of this started. Robson became one of the most visible faces pushing for the Epstein Files Transparency Act. She showed up, twice, outside the Capitol, sharing her story, urging lawmakers to release everything the government knew about Epstein and the powerful men connected to him. She believed sunlight was coming, and for a moment, it looked like she was right. The bill passed the House almost unanimously, 427-1. The Senate followed within hours. Trump signed it into law, triggering a 30-day countdown for the release of unclassified Epstein-related documents. Survivors were told the truth was finally on the way. But then, things got strange as the deadline approached. The Department of Justice started putting the brakes. Officials claimed there were hundreds of thousands of documents to review, names to redact, victims to protect. They insisted the delay was about care, not concealment. But for survivors watching closely, it didn't feel reassuring. It felt familiar. When the first batch of files dropped, expectations crashed hard. Instead of revelations, the public got photos. Old photos. Images of famous people who were not accused of any crimes. Released without explanation or context. Faces without answers. And that was only the beginning. As more documents came out, the redactions were impossible to ignore. Entire pages blacked out. Key details are missing. And mixed into the release were documents that raised even more questions than they answered. An uncorroborated allegation against Trump that the DOJ quickly labeled untrue. A bizarre, clearly fake video claiming to show Epstein's jail cell death. Uploaded, then quietly removed. And then came the document that blew everything up, an unauthenticated note, allegedly from J. Epstein, accuses Trump of sharing a disturbing interest in underage girls. The White House initially refused to comment. Hours later, the DOJ walked it back, announcing the note was fake and warning the public not to trust the legitimacy of everything in the files. For Robson, that was it. She went on CNN and didn't hold back. She said she was disgusted. She called for resignations. And then she went further, saying she would love to see Trump impeached over the handling of the Epstein files. Not over what was proven, but over what she believes is being hidden. What really pushed her over the edge wasn't just the mess. It was the contradiction. Trump himself had recently said it was unfair that photos of famous people were being released because being pictured with Epstein didn't automatically mean involvement in crimes. Robson agreed with that. But she asked a question that's now echoing everywhere, that if a photo doesn't mean guilt, why is there so much fear around releasing the rest? Why the resistance? Why the redactions? Why protect identities if there's nothing to hide? And for Robson, this isn't abstract politics. This is personal. She says she met Epstein when she was just 16, pulled into his orbit by a classmate, told it was just massages, told the more you did, the more you made. She alleges Epstein sexually abused her during one of those encounters, acts she didn't even fully understand at the time. Worse, she says Epstein offered her money to bring other girls. And she did, 8 of them, not grasping the damage, not understanding the machine she was feeding. The guilt, she says, never goes away. Not for a single day. That's why this hurts so deeply. Because to survivors like Robson, the Epstein files weren't just paperwork. They were accountable. Closure. Proof that the system wouldn't fail them again. And instead, what they got was confusion, redactions, and documents so unreliable that even the DOJ warned not to trust them. Now the question isn't just what's in the Epstein files, that it's what's missing. And who decides what the public is allowed to see? Robson once believed this administration would expose everything. Now she believes it's protecting someone, or something. And whether her calls for impeachment go anywhere or not, one thing is clear: the Epstein story isn't over. and the silence around it may end up being louder than any document ever released.